Shalom, friends. Welcome to the ninth of our 10 brief introductions to Neo-Hasidism as a philosophy and way of life. Today I want to talk about tefillah, about prayer and its place in my own thinking about Neo-Hasidism. Now you may say tefillah, prayer is just another one of the mitzvot, and we talked about Torah and mitzvot last time. But prayer is a very special mitzvah, especially in the Hasidic world where spiritual life is all about opening the heart and discovering the presence of the One. Prayer plays a very key role in that. I remember the very first book I worked on many years ago, a little book called Your Word is Fire, which were Hasidic meditations on prayer. The one that I loved most was a one-liner by Rabbi Pinchas of Koretz, a friend of the Baal Shem Tov. And he said it this way, I'll quote it in Hebrew too and then in English. Ha'olam svurin shemitpalelin lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. People think that you pray to God, ve'eino ken, but that's not true. You don't pray to God. Ela hatfilah hi etzem elohut mamash, but rather prayer itself is of the divine essence. God is present in prayer. God is not just the guy on the other end of the telephone line, listening or not listening. You're praying here, and God is listening or not over there, upstairs, downstairs. No. The process of prayer is a sacred process. God is present in you as you struggle to open your heart in prayer, as you struggle to open your lips. I wrote about this a while ago in the introduction to my book, which is a commentary on the Siddur that many of you have probably seen, called Well of Living Insight, Be'er L'chai Roi. It's now about to come out in Hebrew as well. I want to read you a paragraph from that book. Hashem is always with me. Yud He Vav He. That which is, was, and will be is always with me. When I say that I'm a religious person, that's what I mean. There is no place or moment devoid of the One, the presence of God, the presence that I also know full well is always there. But here in prayer I encounter a paradox. I say that to pray is to come into the presence of God, to be present to God. A presence that I also know is always with me, is everywhere. My life as a religious person means being aware of that presence, seeking awareness of that presence always. What then can it mean to come into the presence in prayer? Dal lifnei mi ata omed, before whom you stand, before what you stand in prayer. To pray is to choose a particular time and place to notice that presence. When I stop everything else I'm doing, all the bustle and activity of my life, good as well as bad, and say, Hineni, here I am. I am here to be in this world with you. When God says to Moses is standing on Mount Sinai, and Moses asks to see God's face, and the glory passes by. You can't see my face, but my glory will be here. God says to him, Hine makom iti. Here is a place with me. Sit down, Moses. Sit down. I'll make room for you. I'll move over and make room for you. Hine makom iti. Those three words touch me very much. Hine makom iti. Here is a place with me. And I respond to them by wanting to say to the oneness of the universe, Hine makom iti, I'll make room for you and me too. I'll move my ego self aside. I'll move all my concerns and activities aside and say, yes, I'm making room for you. Hine makom iti, here is a place with me. How do I do that? I can do it in words, and I can do it in silence. For many people today, meditation has become a form of prayer. People are not able to open the Siddur, partly because they don't know how, partly because some of the words somehow turn them off. They don't know if they agree, and they have to ask themselves, do I believe this? Do I believe this? Can I say this prayer? Do I believe it? But prayer is not about that. It's not a belief test. If you think of prayer as poetry, and as something that touches the heart, like a great piece of music or a great poem, you don't ask, do I believe this poem? Do I agree with the poet and everything he or she says? No. You say, what does this poem say to me? What does this poem do to my heart? It's on that level of reality that prayer takes place. I think I said before in this series, religion is an art, not a science. So it's not a question of testing your belief and saying, do I absolutely agree with this? The question is, do I open my heart to it? Does it affect me? Does it help me to open my heart? If you are a regular davener like I am, because I know the prayers by heart and because I've been saying them off and on since childhood, and I have lots of good childhood associations with them, I say to you, from the Neo-Hasidic perspective, slow down and live. Don't feel you have to rush through it, saying every word. Pick less and say it better. The Siddur is overfull. We have too many words. We don't need every one of them. If you're a newcomer to this experience of tefillah, I would say treat the Siddur as an anthology. Know enough Hebrew, learn enough Hebrew to find key phrases in the Hebrew that work for you, and use those as mantras for meditation. I'll give you a few examples. Favorites of mine. Nishmat kol chai, the soul of all life. I could say that over and over again for a while, Nishmat kol chai, and then go into silence from there. Or, Hu Elohenu en od. This is my God, there is nothing else. Hu Elohenu en od. Or, Yachid chei ha'olamim. Yachid chei ha'olamim. Single one, life of all the worlds. Single one, life of all the worlds. Go there for a while. Life of all worlds. Life of all worlds. Chei ha'olamim. Maybe that's enough. Learn those two words in Hebrew, chei ha'olamim, to be able to say life of all worlds. You'll find it in the Siddur. And once you begin the Siddur, that way you'll open yourself to saying more. But again, not rushing through, not learning to become a rusher to say every word. That's not necessary. Remember, Maimonides told us, tefillah is a mitzvah of the Torah. The Torah commands us to pray. But saying the words of the davening is something the rabbis made up for us to make it easier for those of us who don't know how to open our mouths. The rabbis gave us these prayers. But reciting all the prayers is not the essential mitzvah. The essential mitzvah is hatfilah hi etzem eluhut mamash. Prayer is really partaking of the divine. Now, in this moment of opening your heart, of course, you want to be vulnerable. You want to stand in awe at the greatness of God, the mystery of God. You also want to love. You want that mystery to call on you to love. Remember the ancient wisdom of our tradition, that the 2 times of day when the light changes, dawn and dusk, are sacred moments, and they should be celebrated in prayer. That's where we're given Tfilat Shacharit and Tfilat Mincha, dawn prayer and dusk prayer. Few of us get up at dawn to do it, but that's what you should do. Learn to use tefillah as a moment of being present, as a moment of saying to the one that underlies all, that is the oneness of the universe, Hineni, here I am. Shalom. See you next time for the final of our 10 sessions.